Hi everyone and welcome to the next episode of the Bitcoin Collective podcast. Your journey into Bitcoin, sound money and macroeconomics with me, Jim.
And me, Jordan.
So Jordan, okay, there's lots of stuff we need to talk about, but one of the first things is we got a tweet from a guy saying, I really liked the Crypto Standard podcast. And by the way, Ali's a great guy.
Did we?
Yeah, but I think because we're so focused on Bitcoin and it can be quite brutal and quite forensic and quite tough and there's not a lot of good news, because it's all, oh my God, people are going to jail and exchanges are ripping us off, and it's quite hard for people to hear in a bear market.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll try and cheer you up today. We'll try and cheer you up today.
Yeah, it is it's a bear market, but there's so much happening. We always say that, there is so much happening, but it's just hard to find a balance, right?
Yeah.
Between the crumbling fiat system, how much do we talk about that, versus the hope of Bitcoin on the other side.
I saw a great tweet this week, and it said, fiat money is political, Bitcoin money is mathematical. And I like that. Because if you think about it,
it's so true.
So political parties, you have general elections and they say, we're going to do this and we're going to do this with your money. We're going to look after taxpayer dollars and all that stuff. And then essentially they take our taxes and do with it what they want, depending on what's happening and what smells good at the time. And then they get the central bank to print money so to help them with their policies, whether it's COVID or whatever. So they do all that, and that's all political, that's all manipulated, that's all about individuals and people with power. Whereas Bitcoin just ticks along on the blockchain and nobody controls it. So it really struck me about, the separation of money and state.
It needs to happen because the formation or the coming together of money and state really got cemented in 1971, which we always come back to, right? Because politics is so tied to money now because governments control the money. And that's what happened in 1971. They just defaulted and they said, okay, you're going to have to trust us now. And we're in charge of the money. So yeah, it is tied to politics, and that is very wrong and what we need to move away from and make people realize that there is a form of money outside of this, outside of the norm that they know.
And talking about money that's really wrong and bad and toxic and obnoxious. See that thing called the European Central Union, whatever they want to call themselves, the European Parliament. Did you see they've been on the take? They've been on the take. They've been on the take. The Qatari government's been giving them suitcases full of money. They've had to suspend. The police raided 3 of them and found suitcases full of cash given to them by the Qatari government to say lovely things about Qatar and the World Cup. And they've been caught rotten. And that's the politicians that are sitting saying, crypto's really bad, by the way. Crypto's so nasty. And they're taking suitcases full of cash from Qatar. And this is, it's just, and then these are the people that are directing the European Central Bank to create a central bank digital currency. How are they going to, how do they do that? Give them central bank digital currency wallets and try and get their cash back in. Oh, come on. Come on.
It is so corrupt. And I've actually had a few voicemails this week of people just being seeing news come out and they're apparently getting rid of bankers' bonus caps and deregulating stuff that they put in place in 2008, 2009. And just what is going on? It's just in disbelief almost that this can happen. And I mean, has it always been like this? Is it always
been like this.
come out and people just ignore it?
It's always been like this.
Yeah, and people just ignore it all the time.
It's always been. Look at Boris Johnson. He's a proven liar. A proven liar. Disgraced. Sacked for you get out the Tory party, and then what does he do? He goes away and does £259,000 dinners. I'll give you a wee talk for an hour and he gets paid £259,000. The whole thing is corrupt. I tell you, it's even more corrupt. Oh, we're on a roll.
And there's talks of him coming back as well.
Oh, he's got to come back. I mean, Boris has got to come back, hasn't he? Right. So, listen, you know that Sam Bankman Fraud guy, you know, the FTX guy. So he's now been arrested. So he's been arrested in the Bahamas. The timing, did you see the timing of the arrest? He was supposed to go today to give, you're supposed to go to Congress and sit there and tell them what's what and do everything. And then they arrest him just before it because they don't want him spilling all the beans and all the money he's given to politicians.
I did not see that timing.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was that, wow.
Yeah, he had agreed.
And he's been charged on, is it 8 counts?
8 counts, yeah.
And it equates to 165 years in prison if he's charged or found guilty of all 8.
So your camera's off, you know that?
I think it should be fine.
Okay.
Because, I think it should be fine. Well, it's a new,
it's a new system.
Let's just keep rolling.
Okay, so, he's supposed to give sworn testimony in front of a big Congress committee. He'd been invited and he'd agreed to come there, and then he gets arrested the day before it. Wow! He gets arrested the day before it because they know if he goes in open forum and starts naming names, I mean, it could end up being the president. Yeah, I spoke to Joe Biden and he asked me for 40 million so he could rinse it through Ukraine. And you just think, oh, now I've got a question for you. Do you think he'll make it to trial? Do you know what I mean?
What, make it alive?
Now they've got him. They could. I mean, look at the paedophile. What was his name? The paedophile. He allegedly hung himself. Yeah.
Epstein.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna. It's so weird because now Gary Gensler's the chairman of SEC is getting all caught up in this, and he's now saying, I don't really get this. He's now saying that he's going to go after all of the bad actors, all of a sudden, but there's something dodgy between him and Sam Bankman Fraud, right? Yeah, something very, very strange. So I don't know if I put a tweet out yesterday, and it's for everybody Now, Jordan and I have come through. We've come through Cardano, what it was called, RSR. We've come through lots of crypto, and for the last 2 years, we've gone down the rabbit hole, and everyone knows that we're just 100% Bitcoin. But I watched 2 crypto influencers yesterday who've got hundreds of thousands of followers. Hundreds of thousands. And they both put a tweet out regarding Binance. And the tweets were almost identical. And I thought to myself, hold on a minute, that smells a bit off. And I put it out there. And literally the 2 girls came back right away saying, oh, nobody's paying us. This is not we're just more interested. And I thought to myself, I don't believe that. I'm not comfortable with it. Anyway, I put it out, but one of the things it made me think about, as we're in this bear market, Jordan, and we know, you and I know there'll be a bull market at some point. It'll take off again. So there'll be a catalyst and it'll happen. We need, because of our experience of dealing with so many different coins and projects, and we've now got 4 or 5 years in this game, so to speak. We need to call out these influencers. We need to call them out for what they are.
especially when it starts again and they start shilling, buy casino coin. It's going to go. It's going to moon. Maybe like we should say, well, how much are you getting paid by casino coin? I mean, look at.
It's going to get bad again.
Did you see that guy? That who's the guy from Shark Tank? O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary.
Oh, yeah. He got paid 15 million. Yeah. He got paid 50 million by Sam Bankman Fraud.
Yeah, these are the guys that are on telling you about crypto and on mainstream media. Meanwhile, they're getting paid by a crypto exchange to show shit. It's unbelievable. And I understand why regulators pull their hair out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is in a bear market as well. Yeah. Imagine, as you say, what it's going to be like in a bull market. And yeah, that's why. Yeah, I can't imagine what the next one's going to be like. You're right. We're going to have to just call out as many people as possible. And I guess this is like what Peter McCormack was trying to do, like over the last bull market and the previous one. I don't know. No, he wasn't in the previous one. But yeah, you just have to stick to your guns.
Yeah. Anyway, did you see also this yesterday? It was the biggest outflow of Bitcoin from Binance ever. Something like 38,000 Bitcoin was taken off Binance. But it begs the question, why did they leave it sitting in Binance?
And actually, I was having a conversation with someone who has worked at exchange before, and they don't actually. Exchanges don't make money off you holding your Bitcoin or your crypto on their actually centralized platform. Like, they make all their money from like trading fees. So if you're just leaving it there to sit, they're not making money out of it. So they're not really interested in it. So it begs the question: why would you leave it in a custodial exchange and be exposed to that counterparty risk? I wouldn't. I think this is a good thing, though. What's going on? Like, I took a step back the other day, and it's actually, I see it as a good thing. Although so many people are getting hurt, like, it's horrible. The amount of people that just don't know what to do and left their Bitcoin or crypto on exchanges, like that it's horrible to see. But we kind of need to go through this phase for people to realize the importance of doing that. Like, you only learn from your mistakes, and I feel like this industry as a whole is learning from its mistake of trusting centralized exchanges. So I kind of see it as a good thing, but in the long term, but in the short term, is painful.
I think part of the issue is it's not easy. It's easy and lazy to leave your stuff on exchanges, as opposed to, create a hot wallet or buy a ledger, whatever device you want to do, set all that up with passwords and 24-word seed phrases and download stuff. It's not easy for the average person. Yes, we're tech savvy, and a lot of Bitcoiners, etc., are, but there is that moment of, how do I set this up and what do I do? So until that's easier, you're always going to have these issues. But 38,000 plus Bitcoin came off Binance. So what that means is that Binance can't at any point just say, well, we'll just have some of that. So I think, and no, I don't want Binance to fail. I don't think anyone's saying, oh, we're dying for Binance to fail. That'd be great because it's the biggest shitcoin casino out there. But we want Binance to get better and be more transparent, really, don't we? All doesn't matter what it is. I mean, we haven't even talked about the exchanges in the United Kingdom. BottlePay is a Bitcoin only. The CEO is absent. He's the Scarlet Pimpernel, that guy. And you never see or hear from him anywhere. I've tried to contact him. He's like, so he's like a ghost. But anyway, the actual exchange is no longer accepting invites for friends, and it's no longer accepting new clients. Now that raises an alarm bell for me for Bottle Pay. And the alarm bell is, are they running out of cash? Can they not pay the salaries of people to look after stuff? Is the downturn affecting them? I don't know, but there's no real communication ever comes out of Bottle Pay. And maybe we should get someone from Bottle Pay on the pod to tell us all about their business model and how they're doing, because ultimately there'll be people I know that have left their stuff sitting in Bottle Pay thinking, oh, that's not Binance. It's in the UK. It's, it's looked after by the FCA.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, these things can go burst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no safe place to have your Bitcoin except in your own custody.
Yeah.
And that's plain and simple. Like, that's the only safe place to have it. But, I mean, looking at Bottle Pay, I DCA using Bottle Pay, and money just goes in. I don't have to look at anything, and it just comes out of my bank account. I've got a direct debit straight into it. But then when it gets to a certain amount, I then move all that into my cold wallet.
Yeah.
So there's like a certain amount that I feel like you can...
Yes.
And it's subjective to the person, but there's a certain amount you can leave on these exchanges. It's not like you have to suddenly get it off.
Yes.
But yeah, you have to have like a place that you're holding the majority of your Bitcoin for the long term. And I've got, I want to say like 5 different Lightning wallets on my phone. They've all got like 20, 30, 50 quid in them. I'm okay leaving that on there.
Yes.
Because I can just use that day to day when I find somewhere in Dundee that accepts Bitcoin. We need to set up a shop, or we need to try and orange pill a coffee shop in Dundee, because I spend so much time in coffee shops that they'd be making an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
Probably have 1 Bitcoin by now.
So self-custody is tough. And I mean, Bottle Pay, if they want to come on to the podcast, they're very welcome. As an app, it works really well. But I kind of feel like, who are Bottle Pay? I mean, I know they're owned by NIDIG, but yeah. I'd like to see more of them out there doing stuff for the community and chatting, as opposed to, it just feel they're hiding away. Anyway, did you talked about earlier on about inflation? No, I missed that. What's going on?
Yeah, the inflation numbers came out today. So for anyone listening, they came out yesterday. Yeah, so it's gone down, which is the same as America. America went down as well, to be expected with the amount that they've been raising interest rates. But in November, it was at 10.7% CPI. And just to give you reference, in October, it was 11.1. So it's just obviously going to get under control with the amount of raises of interest rates. But it's going in the right, that feels weird saying that, it's going in the right direction, which it is, like within the fiat system. Like, of course you want the inflation to come down, but at the same time, like, we shouldn't really be in this system and this way of working.
So I'm sitting here with 4 layers on. You're sitting there probably with a couple of layers on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have my heating on during the day. My house is cold.
Yeah, I've got a hot water bottle here.
You've got a hot water bottle and you've got a bunnet on. So you think, and I know the amount of people I spoke to yesterday were telling me that in Dundee there's a new warm centre opened up where people can go just to keep warm for the day. So they can keep warm for the day.
Wow.
And they get a bowl of soup. Normally, you, me, and all these people would have our heating on. So we'd have our gas central heating on, but we don't. So therefore, that's going to bring down inflation, right? Because the price of fuel, we're not using fuel. Nobody's using it. So it just, anyway, coming down from what it is, I still think they're mugging us off. They're conning us. Oh, it's coming down a little bit. Oh. Not in the shops, it ain't. Have you seen how much it is for 6 eggs?
And that's the thing. And it's like, inflation might be coming down, but that just means like, kind of, if you use it as a car, I've not even played this in my head, so I don't know how this is going to come out. But if you think of it as a car, like you're moving in a car, you've got your foot like right down on the acceleration pedal. All this is you've just taken your foot off the acceleration pedal just a little bit, and you're just not going as fast, but you're still going bloody fast. And like, if you think month on month, this is compounding as well. It's not like prices, I don't know if people say this, but prices will come back down. And yeah, that might work with like the price of petrol, the price of gas. It might come down a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, like the price of your eggs, they're not going to come back down. The price of your milk, the price of your bread, they're not going to come back down. It's up to wages to match them and move up. So these prices of products and services will just stay the same. And then it's the wages that need to match this. And that's where we come into this ridiculous cycle of the wages trying to keep up with inflation and the prices of today. If you look back at, I was doing a bit of research into this a couple of days ago, and it was in 1990 that national minimum wage was introduced. 1999, sorry. National minimum wage was introduced. Guess how much it was per hour for an adult?
It was £3.92.
Close. £3.60.
I remember it.
So £3.60 for an adult aged over 22. Look at national minimum wage today, £9.50.
Yeah.
So this is just going to keep going. Like, national minimum wage in another 10 years is going to be, God knows, like £20.
Yes.
Like, it's just going to keep going. When does it stop? We're just within this system.
Yeah.
And prices aren't going to come down, is the moral. What I'm trying to get to is you might see some prices in the short term, like the price of fuel, which has come down, or petrol, sorry, but you're not going to see your day-to-day products come back down.
No. It would be interesting to see after the war in Ukraine, if it eventually ends, what that means for fuel prices as well. I don't know if you saw, there was a piece of legislation that Father Calvin put out. Essentially, the government are saying, do you know the way we've been manipulating them over the last three years, how we can use behaviour change models? Let's think about how we can do that in other things. And he's put it out there. It's absolutely terrifyingly scary that how they want to use social control, nudge theory, behavioural economics to get us into places where we're pliable and we accept things. Yeah, and you're right.
Go send that on to me so I can put that in the show notes, because I'd like to read that, and I'm sure a lot of listeners would like to see that. It's
really scary. But you're right. You know, the national minimum wage will end up being £20. 6 eggs will be £5. Basically, because we're living in this fiat system which is manipulated. I mean, it goes back to the beginning of the pod. It's political money. And I want mathematical money.
And that's all Bitcoin's trying to do. Yeah, that's all Bitcoin's trying to do. Like, if you want to strip it right back, is literally what money we are using as a society. Are we using political money, or are we using mathematical money? Like, that's how simple it is.
Yes, but remember,
and when you look at politicians,
the politicians today, don't want that, Jordan. The politicians want political money so they can get suitcases full of it from Qatar. Unbelievable.
Exactly.
Anyway, I am bullish on Bitcoin. I've been doing little videos in the morning. I am really bullish on Bitcoin. And I know that will pull up the cryptos. That's just life, but I am bullish on where it could go. And I'm watching America right now. The United Kingdom and Europe, second-rate, third-rate countries. I'm watching America. What will come out of Gary Gensler? What will come out of FTX? What will come out of regulation? And I think the next year is going to be really interesting to watch there.
It's going to be so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got nothing to say on that, actually.
Okay. And on that bombshell, when you've got nothing to say, remember, folks, it's Bitcoin, not crypto. It's Bitcoin, not crypto. Go and tag an MP today with Bitcoin, not crypto. Do you understand the difference? Alright, mate.
Okay, awesome.
I'll catch up with you. I'm looking forward to this one going out. I'll send you that thing for the show notes.
Awesome.
Take care.
Right, have a good week.